the best value golf community in West Austin. We're talking River Place today. It has jaw-dropping views, an 18-hole club, private country club. It's got an event calendar completely filled for the community, and all at a very, very low price. Stick around today. I'm going to tell you all about the community, what the golf course is like, the amenities, the membership, all the nearby hotspots, and the schools. So if you've been looking for that luxury lifestyle, but without that six-figure initiation fee, this could be the right country club for you. Hi, I'm Nicole Cooper, UT Golf alum and real estate pro here in the Austin area, and I've been helping people buy and sell for over 15 years, especially in golf communities. You see, I don't just know the market, I know every single fairway. I've walked them myself and played them. So if you're looking for lifestyle and location, you're in the right spot. Now let's get started on River Place. So River Place is just out to the northwest of Austin. It is right next to Steiner Ranch. Have a look in the map with me here. So as you can see, it's about 16 miles to get out to River Place, and it is right next to Steiner Ranch. As we zoom in here, this whole area here is Steiner, and then this area just beside it is River Place. So they have very similar topography because it's the same exact type of land. As we zoom in here on the actual River Place community, I want to point out that one of the main streets through it is Big View Drive. That should just give you an idea of how many hills there are out there and how great some views you can get, and I'm going to show you that later when I'm showing you the type of houses you can find in the neighborhood. But Big View Drive runs all the way through the community, and before we even get started, I want to show you this picture overview here. That's actually the golf clubhouse there, but you can see here in the background how the hill country, just rolling terrain all throughout. And this view here is also from the golf course looking up, but you can see how the homes are just kind of flowing down the hillside there, and that is what River Place is known for, big, beautiful views. While we're here in the map, I'm going to show you where the schools are. This whole area right here, this community is the River Place neighborhood. And right back towards the entrance, we have the River Place Elementary School. And River Place Elementary School, per texasschools.gov, gets an 87 out of 100. Their total enrollment is just under 600 students. Here's the diversity graph here, and that puts it at about 13 students per teacher. If we hop back over to the map, both the middle school and the high school are across the highway 2222, but still just a short hop over there, and they are right together. So 4 Points Middle School is going to have a bit better grades at 90 out of 100. A little higher enrollment, 630 students. Here's a diversity graph here in the middle, and 13.2 students per teacher. When we head up to the high school, this is one of the reasons a lot of people want to move to this area, so they feed into Vandegrift High School because it gets 93 out of 100. Enrollment, 2,658 students, diversity graph here, and it's about 16.2 students per teacher. So overall, this school system is a highly sought after system that feeds into Vandegrift, and it all is part of the Leander ISD. And lastly, while we still have on the overhead map here, I'm going to turn on the satellite map because it's really important to notice all of these protected areas. So there are so many hiking trails, and I'm going to show you pictures of them in just a minute at the end when we go over the amenities section, because the hiking trails are absolutely gorgeous out there. People drive from other neighborhoods to go hike in the Steiner Ranch and River Place area because all of this green is just solid trees and trails throughout. So you'll notice down here to the bottom that it ends in the Colorado River, and that is Lake Austin right there on that portion. And basically what you should know about our lakes while we're sitting here looking at it at the map, every section of the Colorado River is called something different. It's all the Colorado River, but if we're up here north of Mansfield Dam, this is Lake Travis. Once we go south of this dam right here, then it's called Lake Austin. Then once we get into the city, over more east into the center of Austin, it's called Lady Bird Lake or Town Lake. If you've been living here a long time, it's Town Lake. If you're new to Austin, it's Lady Bird Lake. But it's all the Colorado River. So we have that kind of interesting quirk about our lakes in the area, that they all have different names and they're all actually the Colorado River. But anyway, I wanted to point out this beautiful green space while we're here hovering over the top. And now we are going to zoom in on the golf course, on the country club. You know, as always, the golf is my favorite part of the neighborhood. So as I showed you at the beginning, this is that overhead view there of the hill country and the clubhouse. On the River Place golf course, you're going to get a lot of undulation. You're going to get a lot of dog legs. You're going to get a lot of blind tee shots. So it was originally built in 1984, and then in 1995, Tom Kite and Roy Bechtel redesigned the golf course. So it's just really known for a lot of huge elevation changes, cliffside fairways, and uneven lies. Here's an example of one of those elevated tee boxes. Look, you got to hit down to that par 3 there and try to figure out how much club to take off while you're hitting down and how much wind is blowing across those treetops as well. Here's another beautiful view from elevated tee box here. Now we're hopping over here to the River Place Country Club website so you can get a little bit more picture views of what's going on out there. In addition, we're going to talk about the membership. At the moment, it is the best value in town, in and around Central Texas. The initiation fee is only $12,500. That is the best price of any of our 12 country clubs within an hour away. Now, in addition to that membership, you become a member of Arcus Golf, and I'm going to show you what clubs that looks like on this page here. So when you're a member of Arcus Golf, you get privileges at these other clubs across the nation. So it's pretty cool. You can join here in Austin at River Place, and then you might be able to head over to Dallas or Houston or even over to Chicago and get some playing privileges there because of that Arcus overarching membership. And lastly, before we move on, I just show you the aerial view of the club here one more time so you can see where the homes are on the golf course. There are quite a few homes on the golf course, and then you have some holes that are down in these ravines that you can't have a home on because the cliffs are a little bit too steep, the trees are a little bit too thick. But you have some overlooking panoramic views of the golf course in some places. Most of them are farther off panoramic views overlooking the whole course. You're not like up against the fence of the actual fairway as much as some courses in town. Now we're going to talk real estate. What are the homes like in the area? Well, you're going to have kind of a traditional hill country design, a little bit of Mediterranean vibe in there, and then some softer modern on some of the remodels that have been done. Not much new construction because the club was built in the 80s, so homes and lots have been selling since then, so there's not much left. If you find something new in River Place, it's usually in place of a tear down, though there is a very, very, very small pocket that is building just a few new homes right now. Most of the construction is from the 1990s, so you're going to have a very wide array of pricing because of the different conditions. Some of it might be original, never touched. Some of it may have been completely gutted and put on today's modern trends. So let's have a look at this first example here. You can get in this golf community under $1 million. Now, one thing to note, this community is not gated. There are tiny pockets that are gated, but by and large, River Place is not a gated community. So let's hop in here. This first property here is about 2,250 square feet. It's listed for $724,900, and it was built in 1994. Now this is just a little traditional single story home that you can find all throughout the roads and streets of the River Place community. This one has been updated quite a bit on the inside. As we can see, the wood textures, the new wood floors, the different colors and schemes here on the wall with that beadboard, and just the new kitchen design with actual colors in there. So this one has been updated. So therefore you can find something under $1 million updated in River Place. Next, this is the type of view that River Place is known for. If we look here into the background, this one's listed for $1,099,000. It's almost 3,000 square feet, and this one was built in 2001. So this home here from the front, another traditional design that you'll see all throughout River Place. And if you look to the back there between the two houses, you can see that really cool panoramic overlook that you have out back. Inside, this one hasn't been updated as much as the first one, which is why the price tag isn't just crazy off the hook. But this nice view, that is what you're paying for in River Place, and especially for this particular house. And here's what you're looking for. Our next example, a little bit higher price, but also quite a lot bigger, 4,500 square feet, listed for $1,490,000. And this one was built in 2006. It's got that 3-car garage, so you can get the golf cart in there if you have your own golf cart. And then you can see how the hill is just raising up to the back, and it gives you a bit of privacy because those other homes are a bit far off in the distance there. This one has a lot of the interior woodwork and craftsmanship that would come along in about early to mid 2000s. The color scheme is definitely on trend for the mid 2000s as well. Now I'm going to show you one that you can't find on Zillow. It's not listed in the MLS, but it is for sale. This is an off-market private listing, and it is listed with Austin Portfolio Real Estate, David McCall, and it is on the main road of River Place, and it is a much larger home at 6,194 square feet, built in 2010. So this is going to be one of the newer constructions in the entire community. Here's a view of the front of the home with the clay tile roof, that nice white limestone outside, and of course they have that third spot for the golf course and the garage. Here's a view of the living room with the nice fireplace and coffered ceilings. And here's a view of the very large kitchen with plenty of counter space to work with. You've got that view out the bay window here in the back. Here's the opposite view of the kitchen so you can get an idea more closely about what those granite countertop colors are showing in there. And here is the view out the back over the pool. You have that rolling terrain up high. This is River Place in a nutshell. Right back behind it, that is part of the golf course. I believe that's the driving range down there, but the golf course does meander through those hills back there. So this is an example of one of the highest listings you'd find in the area at around $2.5 million. Up next, we're going to talk about the club amenities and the beautiful hiking and nature trails in the area. So first, here we're zoomed in on the country club. Here you can see they have the pickleball courts, tennis courts, your racket sports. They have this beautiful pool here. And then back here across the street, they have a driving range. You can go and get some good practice in. And then inside, they also have a fitness room and dining facility. Here's a nice view of the fitness room. Here is the dining facility. Here you can see out the back how it's up high and has a beautiful view over the rolling terrain out back. And here's an angle of the bar that you can go into just to have lunch, or you can go there after your round and see who won all the money on the day. Up next, we're gonna look at the beautiful trails that run all throughout. They're very well marked with signs about distance and how far, maps and things like that. You even have stairs that are created throughout, so it's easy to trek through. Water you're gonna see here and there. Here's one of the examples of the maps that I was talking about. And like I said at the beginning of the video, people come from all other neighborhoods and park here to walk on these trails because they're so nice, well taken care for, and just really pretty to head out on. So that was the Trail Canyon trailhead. Now we're gonna head over to the River Place Nature Trail, Little Fern trailhead. This one at the bottom before you get started has this nice pond out here. You can go fishing for a minute before you start trekking up the hill. And here's another example where they have built the stairs so it's easier to get up the more rugged terrain. And again, they have these trail maps at the beginning of each one. It tells you about how many steps, elevation change, and then how far you're gonna go if you do the whole trail. Show you one more before we head off, the River Place Waterfall. Check that out. When we have rain, it's absolutely gorgeous. When we have those freezes every once in a while, that's what happens, but don't worry, that doesn't happen very often here. Once every, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. But this is the kind of nature you can expect to find out there. Beautiful trails all throughout. You're gonna have those limestone creek beds and ravines, little bitty waterfalls, animals, think deer, fox, coyotes, things like that. And then here's your pond at the beginning. Now we're gonna cover the nearby hotspots. First of all, let me show you the community here. Let me zoom out just a little bit. So here is River Place right here. If you come out of the community and head further away from Austin, right here at the intersection of 620 and 2222, you have all the things. You have Walgreens, Target, movie cinema, Rudy's Barbecue, HEB, grocery, all those things that you need just for everyday living. So once we're out here a little bit further away towards Steiner Ranch, we have the Steiner Ranch Steakhouse that deserves a call out because the food is just that good. They have amazing steaks, as you might imagine. and pork chops and all the things that you might have in a steakhouse, and it is worth the trip. And next we have to point out the Oasis. Remember, we were coming from River Place over here. We came out 2222 and then out on 620. We hit the Oasis. If you haven't been there, it is a must do for all things Austin. And the reason is because it just has the most beautiful sunset view. Here's an angle so you can kind of see all the decks. They have multiple levels of decks, so everybody gets a sunset view every time. They have line dancing and two-stepping and sometimes Latin dancing. They have a lot of entertainment out at, sometimes live music at the Oasis. It's, you know, not so known for its food because the location is so superb. You know, people just go for that. But they do have some pub fare there. If you do get hungry, you can eat and have wonderful cocktails. So if you're in the area or if you're living in River Place, this might be one of your regular hangouts. I mean, look at that sunset. So one thing to note, if you're living in River Place, it's not a walkable neighborhood. There's no commercial in the neighborhood. If you're going to eat in the neighborhood, you're probably going to be eating at the country club. And then right here at the exit up at 2222, there's a couple of places right here in the little strip mall. We've got a sushi place and a little sandwich shop. So for the most part, you're gonna have to get in your car and leave the neighborhood anytime you need to do any shopping or wanna go out to eat. So it's time for the pros and cons all in one spot so you can decide if it's the right one. First of all, golf with views. Houses for views with days. Views and views and views. That's what River Place is known for. Next, it feeds into top Leander ISD schools leading into Vandegrift High School. You have proximity to the lake and the trail system just can't be beat. What's not so great about living in River Place? Well, the streets are very hilly, like I've mentioned, as a pro. But as a con, if you have little kiddos, it can be hard. And if you just want to take a walk, you've got to actually be in pretty good shape to even just maneuver yourself around the neighborhood because the hills are that big. Next, there's no guard gate, there's no gated community except for those tiny pockets I mentioned before. So if you're looking for that overall gated community, this isn't the one. Next, the drive to town can be pretty rough. If you have to commute to downtown Austin and you have to commute during rush hour traffic, it can be a drag. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have to get to town, take that con off the table. And lastly, because the community has been around for a few decades, some of the homes are just older and they may need a lot of updating. So it may not be that new move in and move your sofa in and be done kind of thing. You may have to do some work to update the home to get it to your standards. So here's what I tell my buyers overall. If you want prestige without the pretense and views for days, this could be your neighborhood in River Place. And hey, do you want to see some homes in the neighborhood? All you have to do is reach out to us. You can give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, schedule a Zoom call because we're always available to help you find the perfect home that matches your lifestyle. So until next time, be kind to yourself and others, and I can't wait to see you around town.